Welcome to Tabletop Tactics. My name is Lawrence and this is Joe, and together we'll be taking you through how to play the new edition of Warhammer Age of Sigmar.
We are really excited for this new edition of the game and to show you how to get started. If you are new to Age of Sigmar and considering giving it a go, or if you're an existing player looking to learn about the changes from the previous editions, you are in the right place.
In this video, we will be covering the core rules and a demonstration of how to play the all-new Spearhead game mode, which focuses on fast, small-scale battles that can be picked up with a friend very easily.
Before we get started, there are some things you are going to need in order to play your games of Age of Sigmar. These include a tape measure, some six-sided dice, a surface to play on, and a selection of miniatures for you and your opponent, and finally, a place to call your battlefield.
If you're new to Age of Sigmar and looking for a quick start, or want a fast-paced game to play, you can purchase the Skaven Turn box set, which includes everything you need for games of Spearhead. This box also includes rules for larger match play games and the General's Handbook for organised competitive style play. So there's something for everyone.
Today we are focusing on Spearhead. We'll be using one of the Realm of Battle boards from the box set, some small and large terrain pieces, the Spearhead card decks for both players, and the battle plans, which will give instructions and rules for all 23 Age of Sigmar factions, and how to fight your battles and to determine the winner.
Now let's get ready for our game, which takes place in the Age of Sigmar. An era of ceaseless war in which gods, monsters and men clash upon the battlefields of the mortal realms. Today's battle is fought between the heroic Stormcast Eternals and the unending swarm of the Skaven. Let's have a look at these armies in detail.
This is my Skaven Northeast Clawpack army, which includes some of the brand new miniatures from the Skaven Turn box. It includes the leader of my force, which is a tyrannical claw lord mounted upon a shrieking abomination known as a Norbeast. I also have a wizard called a Greyseer, and a warlock engineer who is a vile artificer. 2 units of entirely disposable clan rats, and a unit of 3 monstrous rat ogres armed with ranged and close quarters weaponry. The rules to use each of these units are contained in a Warscroll. They are found in the Spearhead Fire and Jade book in the Skaven Turn box, and give you all the information you need for every unit in each of the 23 factions. Let's take a closer look at my Warlock Engineer as an example. Here we can see the move, health, control and save characteristics for this unit. The move characteristic determines how quickly a unit can move across the battlefield in inches. The health characteristic determines how many damage points can be allocated to a unit before a model is slain. The control characteristic determines how well each model can contest objectives, and the save characteristic determines how well armoured the unit is. Next we have the weapons the unit is armed with. Weapons are either melee, which are used to make combat attacks, or ranged weapons used to make shooting attacks. Each weapon has its own characteristic, which is used when picking targets and allocating attacks, which we'll cover later. Underneath, we can see any special abilities, which are unique to this unit. The details of when these abilities can be used and what they do are clearly described here. And finally, at the bottom, we have the unit keywords. Keywords let you know which abilities can be used or which units can be picked as the targets of an ability.
To face the Skaven Horde, I'm using my Stormcast Eternals Vigilant Brotherhood. This army includes a Lord Vigilant on Gryffstalker to lead my force, a Lord Veritant who is a warrior witch hunting character, and a unit of 3 prosecutors who will be flying into battle, and finally a unit of 5 hammer-wielding liberators.
Now we've both selected our forces, let's set up our game.
In this battle, we're fighting to secure sacred sites on our Realm of Battle board, and to do so we're using the Fire and Jade battle plan, which you can find in the Spearhead book. The first thing we need to do is roll off to determine who is the attacker and who is the defender. The attacker then picks their regiment ability and their enhancement, then the defender does the same.
For this matchup, I have picked 2 Quick to Hit as my regiment ability, and I've also chosen Skyer Connections as my enhancement, so my Warlord's Rattling Pistol is even more lethal.
And for my regiment ability, I have taken Strike Where Needed, which will allow me to pick one unit to retreat without taking any damage once per battle. I've also taken Mordar's Talon to make the axe on my general even killier. The defender then chooses which side of the Realm of Battle board the players will fight on. These represent the different realms found in the world of Age of Sigmar, which players will battle over. In this case, we're fighting in the Giran realm. Next, the defender will pick one of the two deployment maps shown here and which territory belongs to which player. And finally, the defender will set up their terrain features followed by the attacker. Each terrain feature must be set up wholly within friendly territory, more than 6 inches away from all other terrain features, and more than 3 inches away from both long battlefield edges and enemy territory. Terrain features cannot be placed on top of the objective markers. Players then deploy their armies. The attacker sets up all the units in their army first, followed by the defender. Each unit must be set up wholly within friendly territory and more than 6 inches away from enemy territory.
Once both players have deployed their armies, we then prepare our decks. This battle uses the Fire and Jade Spearhead deck found in the box set. One player takes the twist deck that corresponds to the side of the battlefield the players are fighting over, shuffles it and places it face down next to the battlefield. Then each player takes one battle tactic deck, shuffles it and places it down where they can reach it during the battle.
The armies are now deployed, the board is set, the card decks are ready, and we're about to kick things off in the Mortal Realms. In Spearhead, the attacker will choose who will take the first turn. In any other battle round, the players make a priority roll, which we'll cover later.
Next, we pick a twist card from the deck we selected earlier. This will determine the special rule that will apply for the battle round. During each battle round, we also need to determine which player is the underdog. This is whoever has the fewest victory points. The card we draw from the twist deck will favour the underdog. However, if it's the beginning of the game or the points are tied, there are instructions for that instance too. Now both players draw 3 battle tactic cards from their own deck. Players must have 3 cards in their hand at the start of each battle round, but before they do, can discard any number of active cards in their hand.
The cards we draw give us an objective to complete, as well as a command ability to use during the battle round. Players must choose to either attempt to achieve their objective or use their command ability. Players can also score a point at the end of each of their turns for holding at least one objective, an additional point for holding 2 or more, and an additional point for holding more than their opponent. The player at the end of 4 battle rounds with the most points is the winner.
That is everything we need to do pre-game, so let's get into the battle. It's my turn, so we're going to take you through it step by step. Each game of Age of Sigmar has a certain amount of battle rounds. In Spearhead, it is 4 battle rounds. Each battle round contains 2 turns, one for me and one for my opponent, and each turn contains 7 phases. The first is the start of turn, then the hero phase, the movement phase, shooting phase, charge phase, combat phase, and the end of turn, which we'll cover in this demonstration. As it's my start of turn phase, this will allow me to use any abilities that state they can be used at the start of turn. For this game, my Skaven army doesn't have any start of turn abilities. Does yours?
No, I don't have any that I'm going to use at the start of the turn or in the subsequent hero phase.
Very good. Well, I'll move on to my hero phase. Now it's my hero phase. This is where my characters do all their heroic stuff.
Okay.
Hence the name. It's very clever what they've done.
It is.
Now my Grey Seer has got 2 abilities he can do in the command phase. He's the only character that can do so in this army.
Okay.
He's got one ability called Will of the Horned Rat. So I pick a friendly unit within 13 inches and then I roll a d6 on a 3+. I add that to their control score.
Great.
For how they look after
Objectives.
objectives, exactly. So I'm going to pick my clan rats down there because I don't think they're very brave. They continue to not be very brave. Never mind. He had the ability and it failed. We'll move on. We then have Wither, which is his offense ability.
Oh dear.
So Wither is sort of like a magic spell. So I'm going to pick a visible enemy unit within 13 inches, which are your prosecutors over there. I'm now going to roll 2d6, and on a 6+, you start to wither. You wither away.
Oh
so
dear.
I rolled a 9. So that means
D3 mortal
I
wounds?
inflict D3 mortal wounds.
Oh, wow.
Only
Just
one?
the one. Okay. Well, I actually have 2 health points, so that means that you fail to kill one of the models.
Yeah.
If I'd had a ward save, I could have made a save against that, but otherwise mortal wounds mean no saves.
Yeah.
So, ouch. You've hit one of my prosecutors.
Have. One of them's half dead. So that's it. That's my hero phase done. onto the movement phase.
Very nice. I don't have anything to do in your hero phase, so on you proceed, sir.
It's now time for the movement phase. I'm going to kick things off with my clan rats. Now the clan rats have a move characteristic of 6, which means that they can move 6 inches anywhere on the battlefield. I'm going to move them towards that central objective so I can start getting some points. I'm going to use the run ability for them, so that means I can roll a d6 and I can add 2 to my move characteristic. So I'm now going to move up to 8 inches forwards. This wall here will slow me down a little bit, so some of them will struggle to go quite as far as the rest, but we're moving nicely towards this central objective. Next, I'm going to move up with my rat ogres. Now, I'm not going to run them this time because I'd like to charge in this turn. And if you make a run move, you then can't charge afterwards. So they're going to move up 6 inches, which is their normal move. I'm also going to move up ever so slightly as well with my Grey Seer. Next couple of things to do. My Warlock Engine Seer is going to move up this way to get his gun in range. I'm also going to move up with my Gnaw Lord. Not too close, he's very important, but close enough for future battle rounds. And for the final move for my clan rats, I'm actually going to run this unit as well. So they get a 5. So that's great because one of my battle tactics is raise, which means I have to get to the long battlefield edge in enemy territory. So they can run over here and claim my battle tactic. Now time for the shooting phase. Now I've got 2 units that can shoot. My Warlord over there, the Gnaw Lord, his rattling pistol is sadly out of range, only 10 inches, but that's okay because my Warlock Engineer down there has got a 24-inch range on his musket. Now, he does have an ability for more warp energy, which means that I can increase the damage characteristic on his Warp Lock musket. Okay. Now, you can only do that if you haven't moved, and I have moved him. So that is something to bear in mind with the abilities. It's very, very clear as to when you can do things, which is cool. However, I am still going to shoot you. So I've got 2 shots going into your Liberators. Okay. Here we go. So hit you on 3s. It's a double hit. Ooh. Now, interestingly, that 6 there is a crit. Oh. And on his Warp Lock musket, he has his crit ability is auto wounds. So with that 6, I don't need to wound you.
Okay, I like it.
It's automatically wounded. And I wound normally on a 3+. So that's another 2 wounds. Another wound. So 2 wounds. And they have a rend characteristic of 2, which means you have to subtract 2 from your save characteristic, which is 3.
Which is 3. So now that goes from 3 to 4 to 5. So I require 2 5s or more to make any saves. Now I do get a 6 and a 1, but 1 does go through the armor.
Very nice. Now you have 2 health points.
I do.
And my damage is D3.
Oh, you could slay a Liberator here.
Variable. If I hadn't moved, it would have been just flat damage 3.
They would have killed one outright.
Let's see. Okay. Let's see.
Oh, you do.
Let's do it. So a 3 on a D6 equals a 2 on a D3. So that is 2 damage, 1 is slain.
Sniper round straight through the mask.
Shooting's done. It's time for the charge phase. Let's see if we can get into combat. My Rat Ogres are the only unit that's going to be in range to charge one of your units, which are your Prosecutors over there. Okay. They're just over 6 inches away, which means that I need to roll a 6+ on 2d6.
Okay.
Oh,
yes. They do it.
They make it. Very exciting indeed. So now I can move these in, and we can see if we get into some fighting. Following the successful charge, we can now do a pile-in move. Some abilities, such as fight abilities, allow a unit to make a short move called a pile-in to get better position for combat. To do this, I will pick an enemy unit that my friendly unit is in combat with to be the target of the pile-in move. Each model in my unit can move up to 3 inches. That move can pass through the combat ranges of any enemy units, but each model must end that move no further from the target unit. At the end of the move, your unit must still be in combat with all units that it was in combat with at the start of the move. It's now the combat phase. My Rat Ogres are in, they've made their charge, it's now ready to rip and tear, I'm afraid. Now, to get to rip and tearing, the Rat Ogres have a once per battle combat phase ability called Unleashed Warp Fury, which means that I suffer D3 mortal wounds, but in return, each of my Rat Ogres gets an additional attack.
Wow, scary. Yeah. Okay.
Let's see if I explode a bit. Only the 1 mortal wound.
Nice.
Could have been worse. That is nice. So now their 5 attacks each goes to 6 attacks each with their claws, blades, and fangs. So I hit you on 4s.
Okay. So 18 attacks hitting on 4s. Oh!
They've struggled quite a lot.
The Stormcast are clearly protected by Sigmar himself.
That is an obscenely poor roll, but that's fine. They don't have any auto critting, so now I'm wounding you on 3s. I've wounded you
Twice.
only twice.
Any rend?
The rend is 1.
Okay, so as we've established, rend 1 will reduce my armor save by 1.
Yeah.
My armor save is normally a 3+, so it's down to a 4+. 2 wounds. And I save. Sigmar truly has blessed.
No!
Prosecutors.
No!
So now it's my turn to activate. As your attacks dramatically failed, I am truly protected by Sigmar himself. So using my combat phase ability, I activate and pile in 3 inches, and since the combat range is also 3 inches, even though not all of my bases are in contact with you, they are all within 3 inches of you, so I can make all of my attacks.
Nice.
So I get 9 attacks with my Stormcall javelins. They hit on 3s. Oh, okay.
There's a lot of parrying happening.
There is a lot of parrying happening here. Okay, and then I wound you on 3s.
Nice.
And I only wound you twice, so twice and twice. Now I do have a rend of 1.
Rend of 1, so I only have a 6-up save. So I've got a 5-up normally. No,
So
2
2
wounds
go through. Okay, my damage is just 1, however, in this instance. So I'm pretty sure your health points are more than 2.
I got 4 health points per rat ogre.
Oh, so I've wounded 1, down to 2 wounds, but you're also still standing.
Nice. With the fight phase done, we're now in the end of turn, which is the final phase of my first turn. So this would be the point where I use any end of turn abilities. I don't have any to worry about, which is fine. Now it's just figuring out the points. So I'm holding the center objective there. As we mentioned before, objectives are worth points. You get 1 for holding 1, 1 for holding 2 or more, and 1 for holding more than your opponent. So I've just got 1 there for my objective. I didn't get my twist one. Difficult to get in the first turn.
Take the land. No, you need to hold one of these larger terrain pieces in enemy territory, so neither of us are getting that.
No, not just yet. But I did get 2 battle tactics as well. So I got raise, so my clan rats over there have managed to get to the long board edge in enemy territory, so well done them. And I also got do not waver because I did a fight ability with my rat ogres and I haven't lost any of my own Skaven units. So I get 2 points for the 2 battle tactics and 1 for the objectives, which is nice. In my next turn, I can, if I choose, to discard this other battle tactic, because attack on 2 fronts is a tricky one to get. But that is my first turn complete.
Very good.
Over to you.
We come to my turn, and it's the pre-turn where I have no abilities to use. So let's just go over the battle tactics. I also have raise, which means I need to get a unit within 3 inches of your long board edge in the territory. I also have do not waver, so that means activating the fight ability against you whilst also not losing a unit this turn. And I have Dracothian Dais, which means I need to hold the central objective. That's the Dracothian Dais on this battlefield. So that's quite interesting. It's going to force me to move forward. We'll go into the hero phase. I have a bunch of abilities to use this turn, so I'm very excited about it. The Lord Veritant. He is the blind sorcerer, if you like. He has a burning brazier, which he will look at this Skaven unit of clan rats here. Now, on a d6 roll of a 3+, the ability goes off. It does go off. That's very exciting. So I now roll a single d6 for every model in that unit. Now, you have 10 clan rats in that unit.
10 of them.
On a 5+, you suffer a mortal wound. Oh, it's only 1 clan rat that is burned in righteous fire, but 1 of them is slain.
Nice.
Okay, we have more command abilities to do. So the general himself has plan the attack. I can pick an objective which I don't control. So guess what? I'm going to pick the Dracothian Dais. And any units attacking a unit on that one will add 1 to their hit roll.
Nice.
So that's going to set me up for something very, very nice later on. We now move on to regiment abilities. Now what I have is the ability to fall back with, use the retreat action with those prosecutors and still be able to charge later this turn. It's called Strike Where Needed. That's the one that I picked. So next I will indeed fall the prosecutors back. With the prosecutors activating the Strike Where Needed retreat ability, I can now fly over these rat ogres, still charge this turn, and I take no mortal damage using the retreat ability either. With the prosecutors clearing the way to the rat ogres, my Lord Vigilant turns slightly to face them, still just outside of 3-inch combat range, and he also activates the Shield of Azir ability in the preceding hero phase, which gives him a 5+ ward save for the rest of the turn. The Liberators now use their run ability, rolling a 4, which will get them to just outside 3-inch range with the Skaven. And as you will see later on, I have an ability which will allow them to run and charge. The Lord Veritant will now move on to the empty objective to ensure that we are still protecting our home. That brings us to the shooting phase. Now, normally I could launch my Stormcall javelins at you from my prosecutors, but I did use the retreat ability this turn, which does prevent shooting. I did, of course, use the regiment ability strike where needed, which will allow me to charge despite retreating, but it doesn't allow me to shoot. So let's go straight onto the charge phase. The prosecutors, who are now looking at that Grey Seer, I've just arranged them so that they're 3 inches away from the Grey Seer to keep it legal, as well as the Rat Ogres. They're now going to dive in and charge your Grey Seer. Oh, it is only a 3.
Close.
It's exactly what I need. But they do indeed move in. Nasty. We are then going to move on to my general, the Lord Vigilant. He looks at the Rat Ogres. He prepares his axe. Yes. And then he charges them. He only gets a 4, but luckily that's okay. So in he goes. And then, of course, we have the Liberators themselves. They'll be adding 1 to their hit rolls here because of the General's ability this turn. They're going to charge the Clan Rats.
Nice.
It's a 6 and a 3. Well, they get a whopping charge and they definitely move it.
Oh, boy.
That brings us to the beginning of the combat phase. And what we have here is the abilities that I need to declare. I'm not sure if you have any abilities, but I do. So what I'm going to do is have my Lord Vigilant, my general, deliver judgment.
Oh.
So I can pick a non-hero unit wholly within 12 inches. Now, as it turns out, both of these units, this one just is wholly within 12 inches. I'm going to pick the Liberators. It enables them to use the fight ability twice this turn.
Oh.
But the second time they use it, after the first time, they have the fights last ability. So that makes sense. They can't just fight twice before you. So with no further ado, I'm actually going to attack with my Lord Vigilant first with Mordar's Talon. So we have 5 attacks from the Hallowed Great Axe. They are hitting on 3s and they are wounding on 3s.
Nice.
However, with Mordar's Talon, 6s to hit a critical mortal wound.
Oh, nice.
Let's roll to wound with this regular one. It is a wound.
Okay,
so that's mortal wound damage. My damage is 2.
2. Is there a rend?
There is a rend of 2, but the mortal wounds, there's no save, right? So that's 4 damage.
And I've only got a 5-up save.
Oh, that's savage.
So you've killed
so
1.
Actually, that's 6 damage that's gone through in total.
Wow. So you've killed 2
I've killed
of them.
2.
Woo.
The Lord Vigilant
remains
vigilant.
So now it's me. So with fight abilities, we alternate who goes. So you've done your first attacks very successfully, I might add.
Yeah.
I'm now going to elect to go with my Grey Seer down here. There is one of these prosecutors with 1 wound left.
There is.
I'm going to try and finish him all with my staff.
Yeah.
Punk! Let's see. So I need 4s to hit you.
Oh no, he wins!
Well.
No!
It's not gone well.
Okay, so now I know the prosecutors are guaranteed to survive because you've already struck. I'm actually going to attack with my Liberators next. Now they will be able to attack twice this turn, but not before you'll get around it on me. Let's kick off with my normal Warhammers and I'll do my Great Hammer afterwards.
Nice.
I'm hitting you on 2s now because of plan the attack ability given by my general. So hitting on 2s. No, 1 crit because they also have crit mortal wounds on a 6. 2 miss. And now to wound you with these 3 regular ones. That's 3 wounds. So that's 1 definitely dead. It's only damage 1.
Yep.
And then you'll get 2 6-up saves because I'm rend 1.
Oh, I do pass 1.
Oh, so I've killed 2 so far.
Good rats.
We then have the Great Hammer.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Oh, one of those is a crit.
Another crit.
And then this one does wound you. This is also rend 1.
Rend 1?
Yes.
That does go through as well.
But this is damage 2.
Right.
This is a good example.
So my rats have 1 single health point. Because
Yeah.
you've done 2 damage. It actually spills over to the next one.
Spills over.
So he kills 2.
He does. So I've
3
killed
actually.
4 rats in
4.
total.
I will attempt to strike back. Now the rats aren't quite as impressive martially as your Stormcast, but we have tiny knives and flails and stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, I mean, not bad. They've done better than the ogres.
Hitting on 4s, okay.
There's 5s to wound you.
There's 5s to wound with
You
no
are-
rend.
You are bemuscled.
Oh, you've got 2 wounds there.
2 wounds. There's no rend here.
No. And I do have a save of 3+.
Come on, give me your wounds.
Oh, double 6.
No!
Sigmar truly has blessed me. So the Liberators will actually get to attack again this turn, but they do have the Strike's last ability now after they've done their first attack with the General's ability. So what we're going to do is Prosecutors will attack next in the order, and they're going to attack the Gracier. So hit on 3s. Oh, that's a nice roll. No crits or anything like that with these. They don't have that ability, and I wound on 3s. Oh dear. This is bad. Joe, guess what?
Is he dead?
I'm rend 1 and you only have a 6+ save.
I've already got some little rat robes on.
You've only got 5 health points and I've rolled 6 wounds.
Hi, wizard.
That means you've been absolutely butchered by the prosecution spears here. Please remove your rat.
It's not very magical.
There it is, the end of the combat phase. And the Stormcast did do some serious work, killing another 4 of those Skaven.
Poor rats.
But with 1 still remaining, at the end of the turn, you have your own ability.
I do, so I've got the Seething Swarm ability. So as long as I've got some models left, I've got 1, I roll D3 and I get that many rats back into my squad. I get 2 more, okay.
Brilliant.
That's all right. Well, thankfully that guy stuck around, so that means I've got a couple ready to fight back.
That's right, 3 rats ready to fight back. So now all we need to do is work out what the points are at the end of my turn. So as it turns out, I did get the Raise, Do Not Waver and Dracothian Deus battle tactics because I'm holding the Dracothian Deus. I am within 3 inches of your longboard edge in your territory with my Prosecutors, and I did use a fight ability and not lose a unit this turn, so that's 3 points there. So that, plus holding this objective, and this objective means that I get 6 points this turn.
That was a very good turn.
It was a really good turn. The
done.
Stormcast did some work.
Yeah.
But I didn't get Take the Land because I'm not holding the large terrain feature. You are contesting that. So with that said, we need to roll for priority.
We do.
So in Age of Sigmar, we now need to do a roll-off to see who can decide who goes first next. Would you like me to roll first? Or
Go
yourself?
for it.
Okay. So I only roll a 2.
Okay.
And you roll a 2. Now this is interesting. Because you tie with me, and you went first last time, you can still choose
I can.
who goes first
I can.
or second in
now,
the next battle round.
If I would like to go first next in the next battle round because I need to start getting some damage back. But it's an interesting one now because I could give you the next turn and you wouldn't be able to get any battle tactic cards because you've had a double turn.
That's right.
However, you might kill my entire army. So I think in this instance, I will go next.
Fair.
Battle round 2.
Yeah.
Took a bit of a battering from there by the old Stormcast, but that does now mean because I've got less victory points, I'm now the underdog, which means that I get some cool bonuses to help claw my way back into the game. So we've drawn a new twist over there.
Reclaim Gyron.
Exactly. So I'm able to pick 2 objective markers on the board and we get +1 points for holding those objectives.
That's right.
Now in games of Sigmar, once you've held an objective in a battle round, it then remains under my control.
That's right.
So I'm going to pick these 2 here so I can get some more points for those.
Yeah, you'll get double points for them. And you're able to do that because you're the underdog. Exactly. You get to pick the 2 objectives.
Exactly.
It's pretty cool.
It's nice. I've discarded the attack on 2 fronts battle tactic and I've drawn the Draconian Dias like you had before, so I can try and get that back off you. I've got the Ignax Dias, which is that one over there, which is also on double points, which is cool. And I've also got Cut Off the Head, where I need to kill your general. I think I'm going to leave that one. Might be a tricky one. But I am now set up to get some points back.
You certainly are. And with that now, you are completely equipped to play an entire battle round of Spearhead and then, in fact, the rest of the game. So that's exactly what we're going to do now, and then we'll get back to you at the end of it. And there you have it. That is a quick demo of Spearhead, the fast-paced and quick-to-play game mode. You now have all the tools you need to play your own games of Spearhead from setup to endgame.
Expect to see more Sigmar content from us right here on YouTube and a lot more available to our on-demand members on our website and on our app.
We hope you enjoyed this How to Play and we'll see you very soon for more battles in the Mortal Realms.